Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Kylie Rose, creator and host of Sex and Bacon, Sex, Love, Ugly Truths, a platform built on radical honesty, self-reclamation, and conversations most people are too afraid to have. Our work dives into the messy, unfiltered side of relationships, identity, and healing, challenging the polished narratives we are used to seeing and replacing them with something real. Kali, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right. So personally, I have a lot of questions to ask you, of which it's, like I said earlier, most people don't usually talk about it, but
Mhm.
I've summoned the courage to want to ask those questions because they're a bit personal to me, actually. So yeah,
Absolutely. I'll do
okay.
my best to answer.
All right. So you went from, silence to expression. So you talk about breaking silence. What made you realize staying quiet was costing you too much?
Um, Goodness, that's a good question.
Mhm.
I may get emotional because
Um,
um I have spent my whole life repressing my voice,
mm,
and so many others I witness also struggle from the same issue.
mm,
Um, I've always feared hurting someone or um I guess coming off as crazy because of the dynamics that certain events happened or like relationships, the power dynamics in which I'm easily gaslit, especially whenever it comes to, or in the past, mostly, I have been really uh easily shamed and silenced
mm,
just by using mental health. Um, Definitely since I have such a huge wound in my childhood. Um, Silence started to attack my body as different overusage of like binge drinking. I wouldn't say it was consecutive like alcoholism, but like what people think of whenever they think alcoholism. But every time I withheld a truth, I would notice my body would either overeat, overdrink. I would
mm,
just hold it as an emotion, and it would literally weigh me down to the couch. And as I spoke about it, or I have a hard time writing due to um, things in my childhood and teen years with my parents exposing my diaries. And so it took a lot of introspect to get to a point of sharing publicly, but with clients, I was easily able to like share with people certain things, and I released so much baggage. I would go to therapy as well, and therapists even led me to the path of writing or tried to lead me to the path of writing, and that's really stunted me. And it took, I mean, me hitting a wall back in December of 2025, to be exact, to create the outlet that is Sex and Bacon. And that came from an extreme loneliness and an ability to reach out to someone that I truly felt seen with. And it was another power dynamic of withholding communication in order to silence me. And between that situation and the patterns between uh my parents and how like all of these situations that ended up silencing me, and that I've kept in the dark for so long. Um, they're all tied to experiences that happen in childhood. And so as soon as I could realize that each and every person played the same part, it was no longer um, as hard for me to put out or put together a timeline in the most profound experiences and basically share that as a sex worker, and which is such a taboo industry for the longest time, even to this day, since it's only been like 2 months since starting the show. I still have to battle those thoughts of like, am I even allowed to like be here? Am I allowed to take up this space? And that's what this show offers, and what I created it for is a constant outlet, and it's a live documented um I guess journal of my healing and how healing is cyclical. I have had very amazing like experiences in my life and have created this independence in which I didn't have 7 or 8 years ago. And it isn't something that I or anyone else should be ashamed of, how I was able to achieve or obtain these experiences, because my line of work is true hard work, and it's the most vulnerable work some people will end up enduring if they do enter the path of sex work, which just by being in this industry, I have experienced a lot of situations and people that would rather me stay silent. And a lot of people would rather that. That being, how do I put it? I don't know if you've ever come in contact with, or if your listeners have come in contact with parental roles or family dynamics where they literally don't stop nagging or belittling you or minimizing you until you reach a point of silence. And that silence
Mm.
sticks with you, and it is carried on throughout a lot of other dynamics. It affects your self-esteem and self-worth and how you show up outside of your family. And once you are silenced to a point, a podcast or a book that seems horrendous, public speaking, like that is horrifying for a lot of people who have a huge block whenever it comes to vocalizing and expressing their truth and their experience, because they'd rather allow someone else to hold that power over their reality.
Mm. Kylie, I just want you to know that I see you. I don't know if you've ever been told this before, but I do see you. I see you for who you are and who you can become. And I'm not just saying this because I feel like some things you've been through, I've also been through it, trust me. And it's funny how not just been through it, I'm still in it. It's crazy. So when you talk, I can feel every emotion that you're feeling. It's just painful. This isn't like a video recording. I wanted to just see you. But even at that, I can still see you. It's not easy, breaking silence. It isn't. Trust me, when you say loneliness, I've been lonely, right? You imagine having parents, but they are not parents. They don't act like parents towards you. right? They don't play the role of a parent, right? It's funny how I'm still currently going through that, right? I'm still put down by one of my parents, like let's say my mom, right? She still
Yeah.
talks down on me. And podcasting is the only way I can speak and feel seen and heard. I don't have friends. I don't have friends to talk to either. Podcasting is just what makes me feel whole again. So trust me when I say I see you, Kali, and I'm
Well,
proud of you. Yeah.
thank you for sharing your journey as well. I would be lying if I said my ties were completely cut with those who put me down as well. There are certain things in your life that, like motherhood for me, that brought me to a point where I could no longer be completely away from those toxic dynamics, and learning how to be whole in that and still be sovereign and put those boundaries there, which are not easy at all. Those are fights in their own right. But knowing like that you do have a community, you do have the power to create and attract your tribe is probably the biggest thing that helps me get through. Uh, and it seems like it's the same thing case with you,
Mhm.
that led us here to find bigger meaning and connection, human connection, where we live in a world where it is super lonely. I live in what is known as or labeled as the loneliest city in America, which is just outside of DC. Um, and it doesn't really affect me here. I don't know like how other people would relate to this being as the loneliest city, but I have lived a very ostracized life despite being a source of human connection, transactional human connection. And the loneliness doesn't stop. Like I was sitting with myself the other night, and I messaged a friend who she was asleep, so she couldn't respond, but she apologized in the morning, and I told her not to apologize because there are too many moments in life where like you are lonely. And a crazy thing happened where a friend that a photographer friend who I cut ties with back in January, I had gone on a walk to the bank that next morning. And on that walk, I saw her with someone else, and this friend was very um, she liked to use people. I was warned about it, and it was something that I carry as a wound because of my line of work, is that because of the abundance that I get to experience, I do tend to share it, especially with women and who need help, who are my friends, and that translates into very um, what is it, codependent and financially codependent relationships. It's not a friendship anymore. And I learned that the hard way. And seeing her with someone, another friend of hers, and um, it was a reminder that I'd rather still experience the pain and loneliness that I did before the night before, and to ever like feel used and to feel worthless, because at least in loneliness, it's you against your own thoughts, which can be scary. But when there is this power dynamic, another holds over you and you're not able to break it, and people still choose to stay in those dynamics, that wears on you and breaks you down, creates literally cortisol spikes where like your body will start to manifest in different ways that shows the toxicity that you're not letting go of. And loneliness is something that I welcome, even though it can be heavy. And sitting with that pain is where I find the medicine and find the answers, just like coming out of silence, I guess. Sorry, I trailed off a lot there.
No, it's fine. It's okay. It's a space for, honest conversation. So
I'm not crying anymore, at least. Ugh.
I know it's fine. I don't cry because, in fact, I do cry, but not all the time because,
It's just like the lack of voice control, and the vulnerability. It really is a lot.
exactly.
Plus,
So,
if you've also come from a home where you were told that you're too emotional, and too sensitive, it's going to nag at you because that's some negative affirmation that was never yours to begin with, but it was told to you and taught to you. And it was a way to silence you. So,
exactly. So it's just, I've gotten to a point in my life where I've cried so much, right? And I feel like I have no tears left to give. I've got it. I'm tired, right, of crying, and I just want to rewrite my story. And I think that we can do that, right? We can rewrite our stories. I don't
you
think
absolutely can.
uh, we shouldn't be
How
defined
hard.
by what we've been through. We should, create our success. That's what I believe. Should-
Yes, absolutely. I feel like it is our divine right in that sense. I mean, there are plenty of countries and governments that take that away, but if you are in an area where that divine right is still yours to utilize, um,
Mm.
then I would say tap into it, create your reality. It started with mapping it out. As I said before, I was able to take notes and create outlines and bulletin points. And there's another thing that my past self did for my present and future self was in times that were great because chronic trauma cycles that happen, even the pandemic itself erased all of a lot of people's day-to-day routines and their lifestyles, and even something like that can trigger I guess depressive states and loss of identity, and it's hard to get back to what helped you. And I kept journals of what helped me even if I wasn't really able to do diaries. And there was like maybe a 6 month period in 2019 that I have of diary entries of being out on the road and stuff. But and after that, I would limit it to like grocery list and everything like that. But little reminders, if people just don't throw everything away of theirs and they keep it in a little box, it can help your future self a lot to remind you of not trying to get to be where the same person you were before, because that is literally the not the point of like trauma itself. Trauma is there to transform you from something that was not working, and even if it was inflicted by someone else, there are things that everyone can learn from their traumas and take from them. And with separating that part of what I'm trying to say about their little reminders, it helps you connect with and call back pieces of yourself. At least it did with me with visualization and setting a path, connecting with a version of myself that was super at peace and allowing that version of myself to ground me in the present. And because I believe in multi-dimensional states of being, and in believing that it has worked at least. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of science behind it. Um, I'm losing my train of thought, sorry.
It's fine. Okay.
I'm not sure if you're able to walk me back to that. Okay.
You know, um,
Huh?
okay. I feel like, right? I feel like you have a message for listeners, right? Um, I'd like to ask you, for someone who feels stuck, disconnected, or even afraid to be their real self, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to release that fear, sit with it, dissect it, ask why it exists, and find its weaknesses so that it is no longer more powerful than your, I guess, uh, sorry, I'm like really losing my train of thought.
It's fine. It's fine. You said sit with it, dissect it, and yeah. So it's no longer a fear, right? It's
Yeah,
something that you work on.
something that you're able to execute and work on, yes. Once you
Exactly.
put it on paper, once you label it, once you name it, it no longer has the power that it once had in the dark. And a lot of people don't even bother to ask themselves why they feel stuck to begin with, and be willing to make the sacrifices that it takes to become unstuck. That is the other set of advice. Thank you for bringing me back.
It's fine, Kylie. This was a bold and powerful conversation. It's the kind that, challenges people to look inward and get real with themselves despite everything. So I really thank you and appreciate you for your courage. Thank you so much, Kylie. And
Thank you as well. And
okay.
thank you for your courage. Thank you for the courage of all of your listeners.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. All right. So, it brings me, I wish this would, I wish we can do this some other time, actually.
I would love to be back on. I know it's super late in your time zone, and I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine, actually. I would love for this. I wish this could go on, right? So I have like another meeting right after this. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you stay blessed. Thank you so
um,
much.
you're welcome. Okay. And yeah, where can listeners get to know more about you and what you do?
You guys can find me at Segs and Bacon, Instagram, TikTok, segsandbacon.squarespace.com, because I have not fully bought my affiliate or website domain. So that is all.
All
Um,
right.
but that is where you can find me. Sorry, the confusion on my something popped up on my screen.
I think my guest just joined. Okay. So I would reach out to you on Instagram after this. Actually, I would love for us to, connect and probably do another episode, right?
Likewise, and I'll leave the chat. Have a blessed one. Bye.
All right.